98 Q45 VLSD 3.69 gear ratio. Changes out to a 5-bolt axle from the regular 240, which is a 3-position 6-bolt axle. Using these numbers here, which should be off of an early 90s J30. We're going to be changing out that diff right there, which is at a 410 gear ratio welded diff. We're going to see if the CD001 5.3 liter setup is going to have a better reaction to the 369 gear ratio over the 410. The axle nut is a 36 millimeter, which is kind of worn off on this one by now, but maybe there it is, 36 millimeter. And now we're coming up to our axle bolts here. It should be 12 millimeter. Just working them through, getting them all loose before we pop them out. And then with the axle, the only thing you really need to do is just pop it out. You want to move it up above and off to the side here. Now once this diff comes out, then we can pull this whole axle out, and we're going to see if we're going to be able to do that in reverse order. And once again, we're going to do the same thing over here just by loosening up these bolts. Sometimes those axles don't want to come off. Just give them a little persuasion. A little persuasion, a little motivation never hurt anybody. Now that we've got that one out of the way, there should be enough room where you can wiggle these out. You should just be able to get the whole thing out of here. Let's see. This one, I still believe we need to have the diff out before we can take that one completely out. But same thing over here. Next, I'm going to take out the 4 bolts there for the diff cover. It's kind of hard to see, but we got one up here, one over there, one here, and one here. And then we have the mounting bolts here, and a little hard to see, but there's another one there. We'll get those down, and then we'll get this whole diff out. Once you've got all your bolts out from your drive shaft, you can simply walk it back. Just drop it out. See that the diff is wanting to start shimmying. I went ahead and took Took that bolt all the way out. What's going to happen is as this gets loose, the diff and its input is going to be laying right there on the sway bar, if you've got one. If not, then you probably want to get a jack to sit underneath. Now with all the bolts out, all the nuts off, and the diff resting back here, should be able to pick up just a little bit and shimmy. Make sure we get that axle out of the way. You want to move your axle shaft to the top of the outputs. And then we just got to work it back and forth. Sometimes the jack is required. What we're looking to do is get these bolts to pivot down. And to do that, that lip has to go up over the sway bar. I did have this diff inspected by PDI, Perfection Driveline Incorporated, before making the decision to swap this out. So they informed me that the LSD was pretty solid in here, so hopefully there's no issues. But we're going to try it out. It's something different. Going from a welded diff to a VLSD is probably a downgrade. But the benefits of the gear ratio, I'm hoping is going to outweigh that. We're going to give it a shot, give it a try. Can't do the same thing all the time and expect different results, so we'll see how this goes. And if it's terrible, well, we can swap it back out. That's the cool thing. But we learned something. So the axles are indeed a little different. A little beefier. Persuasion again. Just a couple of little taps, light taps. Don't hit it too hard. And as we see there, not a whole lot of damage coming off from the welded diff. But one of the cool things about these diffs being interchangeable is in order for it to go into this car, you take the diff cover and you bolt it right on. Just doing a little simple surface prep. Got rid of some of that little bit of surface rust that may have been building up on there. You don't have to do anything really crazy. I just use 320 grit in order to knock some of that stuff off there and make sure we get all the gasket material off of here so you have a nice good bonding surface to go to. Something also really fun is whenever you realize that it's been a long time since you had this diff cover off, and then you remember forever ago breaking that off. Yeah, that could be devastating. However, after running it for as long as I have and not having any leaks, as long as I redo the same process, that's going to be okay. But we're going to look at replacing this one off in the future. As far as your fluid goes, there's a couple of brands to choose from. I have the brands that I like, the brands that I use, but that may be different for you. So the recommended diff fluid for this one is going to be 1.33 quarts. First gen Q45 uses 1.92 quarts. There was a metal gasket for this cover. Now, I haven't been able to find any resources about where to get that gasket anymore. So the best option is to use what I've been using for my diffs, which is just regular silicone. Now with the new cover on, we got the gasket maker on there, everything torqued down, just ready for the install. So installed, process. Mounting holes are the same. These are J30 axles out of a 93. Right side to right side, left side to left side. And now we're just putting everything back in. With these J30 axles, you will need to swap out to a 32 millimeter. With everything reinstalled, we're going to take it out and give it a test drive and then take it to the track. After the test run, there was a couple of grinding noises that we determined was the yoke. We ended up swapping out the yoke to the original S13 yoke, and the splines matched up beautifully. During the test run, there was a noticeable difference. And on the track, even more so. The car reacted as if it still had the SR in it with factory transmission. It was back driving what I was used to driving. So I could throw the car a little closer, I could get in a little tighter, I could do all the things that I wanted to do with the car, and overall, I'm extremely happy with the diff swap. But now that the diff's done, time for a couple more upgrades.